We're talking about here the way of the gods, the way the gods speak to us. In the early 80s, around 1981, the master Stevie Wonder came out with an album called Hotter Than July, which dealt with the enigmatic dog star Sirius esoterically, the dog days, hotter than July, the hottest days of the summer, with a song called Master Blaster Jammin', which was a tribute to Bob Marley, who was passing away at that time. In the song it says, "We're in the middle of the makings of the Master Blaster Jammin'." Esoterically, we were in the middle, same meaning as Noah when he was building his ark. That's what's meant when we say we were in the middle of the makings of the Master Blaster Jammin'. Now that ark is complete. It has long been assumed that the Garden of Eden was somewhere in modern day Iraq. But the Tigris and Euphrates rivers still flow there, and the region has long been called the cradle of civilization. A more controversial theory, however, holds that the garden was nowhere near the Middle East. This theory, first advanced by Bristol resident E. Calloway, places the Garden of Eden on Florida's Apalachicola River. For Calloway, this theory was not just a flight of fancy. The Apalachicola is fed by 4 primary tributaries or heads, exactly like the river described in the book of Genesis. In addition, some of the rarest plants in the world grow along the bluffs and steep ravines on the east side of the river between Bristol and Chattahoochee. Among these are both the Florida Torreya and the Florida Ye. The Torreya was officially discovered by botanist Hardy Brian Groom during the 1820s and named for Dr. John Torrey, a famed naturalist of the time. Locals have long called it the stinking sea door for the strong odor it emits when it is bruised. They also believe it is the famed gopher's wood from which Noah built the ark. This legend, of course, added strength to Calloway's theory that he had found the Garden of Eden. Let's clarify something that I said in the beginning of this discourse. The book that E. Calloway wrote was called In the Beginning, not the Garden of Eden, but In the Beginning. Now, to the heart of this story, to the heart of this discourse. Here is even deeper proof. We had rented a yurt for a few nights and just had settled after grilling some veggies when suddenly we heard a loud boom and felt the heat. The shock was so loud it knocked my companion and her daughter onto the bed. Note that I was here for a sign. Moments before, a family had just pulled into the park. Moments before we settled down, the family had just pulled into the park in a large Winnebago. And I had not quite settled in when I went out. And suddenly I knew what the little girl's name was. So I asked him, what was the girl's name? Was it Faith? And her name was Faith. And the reason I knew that was because I always remember the scriptures in Hebrew where it says, by the faith of Noah, the elders were given a good report. I've been writing this journal for over 28 years called the Holy Book of Wonder, and I have the faith that Nibiru is a reality, that we will be taken out of here before the culmination of the polar ice shift, which started in the year 2000 when Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter aligned with the Earth. So, let's look at what the newspaper said. It says that a 6-year-old girl on June 15th, a 6-year-old Cottondale girl Sunday afternoon while she was visiting Torreya State Park in Liberty County, They worked on her all the way to the hospital, and they just could never bring her back, said Lieutenant Henry Hamlin of the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. According to Sheriff's report, Faith Pristine Jackson was killed shortly after arriving at the park at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with her grandparents and their 3 siblings. The lightning hit the tree and traveled down into the roots and traveled over 12, traveled all the way down the tree, all the way over to where she was. Killed her, but her family was like about 12 feet away, and they say they didn't feel anything. Think about it. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. I'm your host for the Underground News Network, your brother, the Rastafari, Ital Aymanai.